everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to the another episode of Binance SG. Right. So welcome. Please type in the chat below where are you from. Let me know where are you from because currently I'm in a hotel. Please let me know if the I'm traveling for work. So I guess everything has been opening already. Although there's still new variant. But then please tell me if my internet is not good enough. Yeah. So I will readjust the internet. But please type in the chat below. Please tell me where are you from, right? So that I can address you, right? So today, right, I will be sharing with you the market update, and I will be sharing with you what is the current sentiment for crypto and also for the stock market, right? So please tell me in the chat below, what do you feel of the current market situation, right? Do you feel like it's an opportunity or do you feel fear? Just let me know what do you feel because there's no right no wrong, right? Or do you think that the real bear market is coming after such a long bull run, right? Yeah. So just type in the chat below what do you think, right? Yeah. So without further ado, let me just share my screen. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, please type in the chat below if you can see my screen. BSI, please type BSI. Yeah. So Binance SG Investor, right? So my name is Jinyi. So today I'm gonna share with you the market update, the current market sentiment, and also the do's and don'ts when during current situation or as an investor itself, right? And also I'll give you one bonus because there's so much fear, so much uncertainty currently, right? With like there's a lot of like U.S. News saying that they are tapering. Then there's a lot of news saying that the crypto is crashing, right? But then today, right, I'm gonna give you a bonus that you can straight away earn annual per year around 500 500%. So who thinks that 500% annual per year return just by doing this action, right? In a safer way, it's a good thing, right? Who don't mind a 500%? Please sign in 500%, right? Right. Without further ado, this is a disclaimer saying that I'm just sharing for educational purposes or just by sharing my experience. This is not financial advices for anything, but this is what I'm doing currently, and I'm just sharing for to you guys. Hopefully, you guys can benefit from it. Right. So this is the market sentiment, right? We have been having a very nice bull run for the one whole year already, and even a month ago, right? Um, remember in September we were having a very like bearish sentiment, and then in October and early November we were having very bullish sentiment, right? Right. But then one week ago, just one week ago, then people will be has been talking about like the new variant, the Omicron, right? Yeah, the Omicron has been spreading very fast in Africa. It started from Africa, and then now even Singapore has it, Malaysia has it. I'm from Malaysia, so yeah. To be honest, this is something to look out for. But later I'll tell you what do I feel about it, right? Yeah. But then this is what the market feel a bit about it now. They are in extreme fear, right? They are in extreme fear. Remember, in September they are also in extreme fear, right? Just remember this, yeah. Again, so similarly to the general market, crypto market, specifically for Bitcoin, right? It is also at extreme fear. Recently, Bitcoin just dropped like 30% from their high, right? 30% in just 2 weeks, and then yeah, it just boom down, and then everyone was calling for 100K sorry for near 100K in November, and then a bullish ultimate bullish run in December would be like breaking like 100K and all this, but it didn't happen, right? It didn't happen. So it currently didn't happen. It doesn't mean that it won't happen. So right, later I'll share you what you should do as an investor. Always think like like if you want to be an investor for a long term perspective, right? You want to stay in the game for the longest term possible, right? What do you need to do? What do you need to be prepared of, right? right? When people are greedy, what do you do? When people are fearful, what do you do, right? Because when people are fearful, you yourself will be fearful also. But you need to have a strategy, right? How do you get in? How do you get out, right? Right. So again, compared to the fear and greed index, right? For the general market, this is US 500 client positioning, lah, right? The traders position, right? If you can see, right? Sorry, if you can see, wait, if you can see my cursor, right? During let's say October, like September, that time, right, when they are at the high, right, when there's a lot of traders trading, right, normally the price will go down. Similarly, when now, right, there's a lot of people in long in the market. Long means, right, a lot of people are buying for thinking, hoping or thinking that the market will go up, right? It means that there's a lot of people are very, very bullish. That is when this indicator is showing us the opposite side. When there's a lot of people buying, normally the price will go down. They will meet at the halfway, right? But then when there's very, very little people buying, just like in this area, right? Sorry, in this area, right, then the price will go divergent. So it's like a divergent over here. So when you see things like that, right, like the price is hiking up around here, you see a lot of people buying already. It is time for you to get out already. And there's also time for you to get out also lah. Like over here, drop a little bit, and you saw a lot of people still buying in. It is time for you to get out, and then you get in when there's lesser and lesser people buying in. When there's lesser and lesser people buying, you go opposite way, and that's where um, educated people, educated investor will normally win, right? Compared to the general sentiment market, right? So again, if you look at the sentiment, right, on we are at a 1 year bearish high. We are at a 1 year bearish high. So we are at 42% most bearish sentiment in the whole year. This is the American Association Investor Index, right? AII. So we are at a 1 year high when everyone is feeling bearish. Everyone is calling for market bear. Everyone is calling for like the bear has finally arrived, right? But is that really true, right? Is that really true? And then a lot of people also sitting on the fence, like they're waiting for the situation to chill down a bit before they make any decision, right? So yeah, so then that naturally the bullish sentiment has just dropped. So this is something that I like it a lot, right? When people are very, very fearful, this is something that I will always take opportunity. I don't go in like I go in with a plan lah. So I don't go in like without a plan. So later I'll show you why. So right, just now I mentioned about COVID variant. Everyone is talking about Omicron, right? Everyone is saying that, oh, Omicron has higher infection rate, and it is true. It has scientists has actually said that Omicron, right, is spreading twice as quickly as the Delta in South Africa, right? Last time we have Delta, right? Everyone has been fearing. So right, they are afraid of the new variant. But then right, even like the positivity rate like jumps in 2 weeks, right? The rate of infection jumps in 2 weeks since the Omicrons came out, right? And then right, Singapore even have like one possible Omicron case already, and this will continue to be in the headlines, right, in the near few weeks, right? This is something that people are still um, figuring out how deadly is this Omicron thing. But then as per the 1 or 2 weeks data that we have captured, right, Omicron definitely has higher infection rate, but then it doesn't mean that it has high disease rate, right? So the it's not as deadly as Delta or the normal the when COVID just came out, because most of us are actually vaccinated already. Although data also show that those highly vaccinated countries, they are also having a high, very, very high infection rate. The thing is, most of them are actually asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means, right, there's no real symptom. They are only detected it, right? So they are like, if you go and test, you know that you're like you got like COVID, right? But then it's not as deadly as per the data shown for the past 2 weeks now. We don't know yet, right? But then imagine, right, for the past 2 years, we have been hearing deltas or new variants coming out, and then whenever there's new variants, the market will dip a bit because they are not sure how to react to that. But then, right, this is something that we have been hearing for the past 2 years. If you ask me, this is something that I am not very, very worried of, right? Because we have been there, and like look at me, I'm actually traveling already. I'm actually in a hotel now, giving live, and actually we are meeting people already. So yeah, business as usual. Everything is opening up and everyone can travel. People do adapt. So when you adapt, right, that nothing can stop you lah. So that's what I think, right? So this nothing new already, right? This is what I think. Then right, so now what do you do as an investor, right? What do you do as an investor? I have three things that I always will keep in mind lah. I will always remind myself, let's do this. You tell people you do this, you also must do this, right? So I always keep reminding myself on what I should do in investing, right? When it comes to investing, I always educate myself, right? You must always educate yourself so that you don't hearsay. So right, whenever there's like the market is at all-time high, people will be calling another high, right? There will be a lot of YouTubers coming out. Oh, market at this rate, they will be hitting this amount. And then if you follow through, it's okay to follow through. But then if you know what you're doing, it's okay to follow through. But then if you don't know what you're doing, right, it will be you're asking for it. You are playing with a time bomb, right? You know what is time bomb, right? Time bomb will be like, you might be winning nine hands, right? You might be winning nine trades, and then oops, just keep a boom, and yeah, and you will just get hurt badly, right? Yeah, if you don't know what you are actually doing, right? You just keep following people. People always tell you what to buy, right? But they didn't tell you when did they enter and when did they sell, right? Maybe they just say, oh, buy now, it's an all-time high, buy now because it's good, it's going double already. And that's when the time they sell, they don't tell you, right? So they only tell you they have already bought, they didn't tell you when did they bought also, right? Right, so this is something that you need to educate yourself. Be responsible on your own money because no one is more responsible than your own money actually, right? So then one more thing, right? You need to have you need portfolio size. No matter how convicted you are into, like, let's say Bitcoin. Let's say you are very convicted, you like Bitcoin a lot, you know Bitcoin gonna go like berserk, they are gonna go boom boom pow to rocket to the moon, right? If you think that they are going to like 200k per Bitcoin USD, right? Or you think that they are going like 100k Bitcoin, like currently it's just 50k, and you think that it's going like 100k, you don't go all in. No matter how convicted you are, you normally don't go all in unless you understand what are you doing, right? And you can stomach the volatility, right? If you are into a very high growth in investing asset, right? The normally high growth comes with high volatility. Volatility means, right, it can go up today 30%, it can also go down tomorrow 20%, right? When that happens, right, if you can stomach it and you understand what you are doing, by all means go ahead. But then as a new investor or a long-term investor, you want to stay in the game for the long term, right? I would suggest everyone to know a little bit of what you are doing. At least do like certain percentage on certain asset, certain percentage on certain assets, right? Do not go all in on anything. Um, yeah, that's my advice as an investor lah. So and then also always invest in a long-term mindset. So right, just now we mentioned like market has dropped like recent general market has dropped like 7%, 5 to 7%, and everyone is calling a bear market. When the market is up for like 10, 20%, no one is talking about like pulling back. Market need to breathe, right? When you breathe in too much, you need to breathe out and then breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. So they'll be like breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. But then in long term, right, due to the inflation, due to the money printing, the market is going to go up in the long term perspective, right? So, right, if you have now is the better time for you to actually determine what kind of things that what you need to determine the opportunity that's currently arising. There's so many stocks has been dropping like crazy, right? they have been dropping, like those growth stock, they can be dropping 10 to 20 to 30%. But then you need to know what you are doing. So have a game plan, right? Understand what you are investing, and go and do some due diligence on the companies, right? On the stocks, on the crypto exchanges, on the cryptos that you want to buy. And then if you understand the thing that you are getting in, by all means, like you can go in by tranches. Of course, don't go in, but of course, because now market is like a bit bearish, right? You don't expect to catch the bottom. You need to go into tranches by getting in now at this support, and then getting in another support, or getting in at another price. So have like two or three bullets on everything that you are doing, so that you don't. Of course, you can go all in now, but then you can also go in tranches lah. DCA, that's what I call, right? Right? Dollar cost averaging. Yeah. So what I've shared, what do you have to do, right, as an investor? I also want to share what don't you need to do when you're investing, right? All right, you shouldn't let emotion to take the lead, right? You can feel like the market is like feeling very very bearish already, right? This is emotion, right? When everyone is talking about like the market is going to the moon, obviously you're feeling happy when you're investing, because you see your portfolio, right? Every day is going up, every day is going up by percents, right? You'll be like, oh, let's do this, the market can go higher and higher and higher. These are emotions, right? And when the market drops by a little bit, you'll be like, oh man, oh shit, oh sorry, I shouldn't say that. Like, oh man, market drop, like, are they going to the bear market? And then everyone in the market will be like, those who are calling for the bullish case, right? Suddenly they just keep quiet. You'll be like, oh, I need some update from you, man. What do you think about all this thing? And then they will be like, they just don't update things. They'll just go silent, right? Suddenly they just go missing. And then when the market goes up again, they'll be back. Oh, they'll be calling bullish thing already. This kind of people, right? You need to unfollow, right? This kind of people you definitely need to unfollow, right? And but then it comes with experience, and if you are educated, you can take it as a pinch of salt. Always set your own entry and exit plan, so that um, although you can follow a lead, but then you need to do your own homework, so that you don't get burned. Or even if the market drop, right, you will know what to do next, right? Do not invest blindly, and do not ever take unnecessary risk. Imagine the Bitcoin price was hovering around 60 to 65, like that, right? And then everyone is taking a lot of like leverage. A lot of people is in the futures. A lot of people are in the margin, right? And then when the Bitcoin dropped just one night, then drop for like 30%, 20 to 30%, 2.5 billion asset, 2.5 billion cryptos actually get liquidated, because they don't have enough margin to actually protect their asset. Do you want um, imagine, right? You It's a double-edged sword. You can earn so much, you can also lose so much. So whenever you are in futures or in margins, right, please get yourself educated. Know what is the risk you are playing with, right? How far can you be like, what are the price that you will be liquidated? At least understand all those mechanism, right, before you actually do this thing, right? I am Well, as a new investor, you shouldn't even go into margin. You should actually um it's okay to be slow, as long as you get there, right? As long as you have a plan and then you reach there, right? There's no point saying that my friend earned 1,000 to one like 10,000 this year. I want to earn like him, but when has started like 2 3 years ago, you have just started today, right? And you want to hit like 10K also. It's baby step, and you need to learn. It depends on how fast you learn, and also, right? So yeah, these are three things to not do. Do not invest blindly. Do not take unnecessary risks, and let your emotion take the lead. Do not ever do that, right? So next, so who wants bonus? Please type in the chat below if you want bonus, right? I am gonna share with you something that you're gonna blow your mind, and this is the best thing uh, that will that is the it's a very, in my opinion, is not it's a safer investing mechanism compared to a lot of things currently, because currently the market is so bearish. You are not sure, right? Yeah, I can see like Jachin, Jason saying that you want bonus, right? So why not? Without further ado, let me just share with you, right? 500% annual per year return, right? Decentralized exchange. This is what we call DeFi chain, right? The ticker symbol is actually DFI, right? DFI. So if you can if you want to like invest in this coin, you can actually purchase it. Wait, let me just go out first. You can actually purchase it in. So this is coin market cap. This is what we call the DeFi chain, and it is a DeFi decentralized coin, right? Decentralized coin means, right? It is only traded uh, through voting, right? You can do your own research in about this DeFi chain. You can search about DeFi chain. You can search about Dr. Julian Hobbs. He has a lot of YouTube videos explaining what is DeFi chain and how does it work. The thing is, currently the price is it has already gone up. So right, you just click DeFi USDT, right? It is actually in you can actually purchase it in KuCoin, right? Let me go in. So you can actually purchase it in different exchanges like KuCoin and all this. But then if you look at the market currently, right, it is actually quite high already. The reason that it is high is because they actually launched um, decentralized token recently. Like just Monday on Monday they actually launched decentralized token. Decentralized token means, right, um, they actually have like Tesla. They actually have like that have like S&P 500, GameStop, triple QQQ, which is the technology stock. Means, right, they have like the traditional investing mechanism in the crypto exchanges, right? in the in the crypto chain, right? So how does that work? Actually, they actually use cryptocurrency, which is like DFI, to be collateralized with the token, right? They are all this coin over here, right? They are actually backed by DFI, right? So that's why, right, when you have a lot more people going into this coin, right? If you want to see, it's not everyone like us that we can invest freely in the US market, right? Even if we invest freely in the US market, we need to be bound by the exchanges and all this, right? So DFI, right? They are not in the centralized exchanges. They are in the decentralized exchanges, right? Everything is in the crypto exchanges, right? So oh, sorry, right? So right, then for this D token, right? If you just uh, do it in the liquidity mining, this is what we call liquidity mining. So what you need, right, is actually a DeFi coin and also a DUSD, right? And then you can actually see like this is the annual per year. If you just do liquidity mining in by using DFI and DUSD. So what can you do, right? How do you do it, right? You need to purchase DFI, right, in KuCoin or in whichever exchanges that they offer. You can also come to Kick DeFi directly lah. You can send your coin to Kick DeFi, and then you can actually swap it over here, right? So DeFi is their centralized is their governance token. It's not centralized, it's their governance token. Everything is mapped with DeFi, right? So but then for the token, right, for the decentralized token, right? Because it is very very new now, so you can actually they actually offer a very very high percentage of the return. So if you want to have a hand to test it out, right, you can actually buy the safest possible one, in my opinion, is DUSD and DFI. Because currently, right, DUSD is 1 USD to one USD to 1 DUSD lah, is 1 to 1. But D Tesla, right, currently is 1 Tesla to 1,175. Compared to the current price, Tesla is like less than 1,000 only. So it is more expensive to actually purchase this one. But then again, when it's more expensive, they give you higher percentage of return lah. So if you can weigh that, right, It is you, if you are happy with it, you can do that. But then bear in mind, because Tesla is a volatility high volatility stock, so that's why that's the reason they give you a higher annual per year return for liquidity mining. What you need to do is you need to have 50% of D Tesla and DUSD in this liquidity mining. You can just add liquidity, and yeah, you can just put your money in and work for you. And they are calling for DFI to go to $50 in the near future. So in the near future, right, because they just launched this decentralized token, this is not financial advisors, and current prices is actually 4 point something only. By year end or early next year, they are calling for $20, because as you mint the D tokens, right? D tokens like DSPY and GME, right? They will need to burn more DFI. When you have burning mechanism, right? It will actually cost you actually reduce the supply of DFI. When you have lesser supply, the demand increases. What that will happen? Obviously, the price will go up, right? So in my opinion, you can just you can just do liquidity mining over here by buying DFI and then swap it to DUSD, and then you can play around a little bit. You can go to Cake DeFi. If not, you can go to DeFi chain. This is a so Cake DeFi is not an exchange. The DeFi chain itself is it is a decentralized exchange. You can also swap it there. You can also do Volt. The one you can go and uh, uh, learn more about the Volt and the loans and collateral thing. But today, what I'm sharing with you is that you can do all this and earn very high returns in um, in their decentralized asset. Of course, this kind of thing will not last. So when I first started, right, I actually do staking. When I do staking, right, for DFI, I bought it like early of the year, right. I'm very transparent. I bought it early of the year, and then um, last time when the staking happens, actually it gives us like around 90% per annum, and then after like one whole year they actually reduce to 642.7%. It will happen when it stabilizes already, right? When it doesn't fluctuate a lot, it will stabilize, and then the annual per year return will actually reduce, right? Similarly to the liquidity mining, when it's new, when there's a lot of people buying and selling, when a lot of people trading, it will be high. So you need to capitalize. You need to enjoy this 200% or whatsoever percentage over here. So what I'm doing now, I'm actually staking my I'm actually doing liquidity mining for DUSD and DFI. So look at it, man. The price of Tesla just APR just increased by from 400 plus to 600 plus now, right? I don't know what happened, but this is what I'm showing. This is live, I'm not showing you not something that is not live, but this is something that I'm doing currently. I'm doing the DFI and DUSD. I'm more conservative lah, right? So that is the DFI bonus that I'm sharing. So right, this weekend there is this co-create conference, right? There's like Mary Buffett, which is the ex sister-in-law, daughter-in-law of Warren Buffett, right? And Sean Seah, he is known as the Buffettology of Asia, right? And then we have like our Leslie and our like Ken Koo, right? Leslie will be sharing with you how do you create NFT, and maybe you can earn some money by selling your own NFT. So whoever who wants to actually learn about like how do you create your own NFT, right? You can actually like join this link, right? Remember to actually put in verify your email, verify your email, so that they that or then you will get the Zoom link. If you don't verify your email, you will not get the Zoom link. Then you will miss out the session. So whoever who wants to join, you can just click on the link and register. And then if you invite more people, you can also win some prizes. But then I will not go there. So what my point is, you can learn something over here. Just now I mentioned, right? You need to educate yourself by learning from the experts, right? Over here, there are multiple experts, be in investing, be in creating, be in everything, right? So just pick and choose whichever topic that you want. If you can't join the whole session, you yeah. Let me just read. Is there any comment? Let me know if you have anything that you want to ask or anything, right? If not, I will just this is what I'm sharing, and I will be looking into the chart. Let's see the chart. right? So let's go to BTC, right? Let me just close this one. So right, BTC, right? Currently, they just had a like 30% drop and all this, right? So do not go leverage, right? They just had a very very big drop. This is on a weekly chart lah. So if you zoom out, right, zoom in, right, it happens within the next the two weeks. It is a good thing that they are hovering at like EMA 200. You can actually buy some at this support, but then have a few more tranches. Do not go and leverage, right? If they can drop more, you must think long term. If you think that this is something that you can actually earn a lot of money in the long term, yeah, you can actually get in here first. Let me see the MACD. Oops, let me just turn off this thing. MACD. Right, the MACD is actually a very very nice MACD. It's actually turning pink, and when it's turning pink means that there's like a nice bounce over here. You can see, right, there's a nice like the drop, and then there's a nice bounce. This is where the time I will enter with tranches are. If I have like whatever money that I allocated for this one, I will go in tranches. Similarly to ETH, right? It is also at it actually didn't drop a lot. It actually it is holding the fort very very nicely, right? So it didn't actually drop. It barely even moved, man. So 10% to crypto is nothing, right? So they are in this sandbox hovering around there. Yeah, if you want to get some, also this is a nice MACD already. But stochastic, if they can drop more to actually buy like over here, right, it will be very very nice. Then again, this is the price that is November pricing or even October pricing. So you are getting whatever pricing that if last time you can't buy, so this is another opportunity for you to actually purchase, right? Yeah, what is the reward for LP? Oh, liquidity mining, right? So if you actually for Joshua, right? Joshua actually asked. Um, let me just share his comment. Joshua actually asked. So what is the reward for LP providers? They pay you in DeFi, right? Correct. So they actually pay you in DeFi. Yeah. So whatever percentage they are paying you, they'll pay you in DeFi, right? Yeah. So yep. So over here, there's whatever pairing that you are getting, they'll pay you in DeFi, and if you are convicted in DeFi, please do some due diligence lah. Don't just hear say on what do I do, right? Um, Go to Twitter. You can also listen to Chicken Genius. He recently just interviewed Dr. Julian, right, regarding this thing and what you can do to actually do some arbitrage, right? Because currently, right, DUSD, the DeFi coin, right, currently is actually at like $4 plus, right? But then if you actually go to DeFi chain and then you swap it, right? One USD, right? For one DeFi, right? It's actually costing around 3.5 DUSD only, right? So actually DUSD is actually in a very very is actually in a more expensive pricing. So you can actually loan and then you use DUSD to actually swap it to DeFi. So in that case, you actually uh, um, you know what is the you can play with arbitrage. Have a listen to what Chicken Genius actually share with Dr. Julian. But this is something that I would like to share with you guys, and I hope that you guys will learn will earn something lah. This is something that is I'm very excited to share with you. So this is something that I'm doing, and I hope you guys can also earn something. Yeah, so that's my sharing today. If you have any question, please type in the comment below. I will read it and I will definitely reply to you whenever I see it. Right. Then again, please invest safe. The market is actually not very very stable now. There's a lot of bearish and a lot of people sitting on the fence. They don't know what to do. But then if you have a plan and you have a lot of tranches and a few tranches, go into the strong companies, be in stock. If you are into stocks, go into the very very cash rich company in plus the high growth company like Tesla, right? For crypto, please go into the highly fundamental crypto coins like BTC, ETH. If they have utility, it will be better. Like DFI. DFI is something that, to me, it will be a dark horse, and I think it will achieve road to 50. Their aim is to achieve $50 per DeFi. So you are actually very early into the game. Please have a long-term mindset, and I wish you all the best and have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.